the reason I brought this, Justin, it's one of the best values in our store. Actually, you know, when we sell it, usually around 20. When it's on sale, about $20. And you know, they have a Sausalese, they have Justification, which is a little higher end. They're also blends. But this is from Paso Roble. If you say it in the Spanish way, it's Paso Roble. If you say it kind of how a lot of the locals say it, they say Paso Robles. Paso Robles cabs are usually kind of fruit forward, so you get a lot of that fruit up front. They're kind of big fruit bombs, but they have the dark fruits you find in cabs. So like black cherry and black currant, and even some leather and dusty notes to them. But it's perfect for steak, especially if you're trying to pair the wine with a certain type of meat. Like if you really want a nice tender fillet that night, you may choose you know, a Meritage, which is a blend of Cab Merlot and Cab Franc, so it can kind of tone it down a little bit. Or if you're doing like a big fatty ribeye, the fat content has a lot to do with it. The higher acid wines go a lot better with the big fatty steaks. And the you know, for a ribeye, you might pick like a Napa Cab, which is a real big, bold, rich cab. Paso, it tends to be a fruitier cab, even though it's big and rich and complex, you know. So tonight we were having KCs. I thought this would be a perfect wine. You might do, when I say Meritage, it's just a domestic version of Bordeaux. Bordeaux, you're going to be Cab Franc, Merlot. In the States, Meritage would be the same blend, but they'd be grown obviously here on our soil. And they try and replicate that and give that real finesse that goes with a real tender fillet. But for a steak, Cab is always going to be the biggest, the winner. Yeah.
So with the cabs though, so like what's the difference between the Cabernets and the Merlots? I mean, they both seem pretty deep.
So they're both going to be complex and rich. This one, by the way, I mean, not only is it complex and a great Cabernet, but you can lay this down. You can age this wine. You know, for somebody that wants to spend $20 on a cab they can lay down, you could age this 5 to 7 years, no problem.
What allows like one wine to be able to be laid down versus another?
Most of it, it's a lot. Well, that gets in a whole nother video, but I mean, a lot of it has to do with alcohol versus sugar, the balance in alcohol and sugar, and the way that it's able to sustain its life over the next few years. It gets pretty complicated, actually. I mean, you know, most wines are meant to be drank in 1 to 3 years. In fact, 90% of the wines that we sell probably should be drank within 2 years. Probably, you know, 5% should be drank in 5 years, and another, or even more, 7% probably should probably be drank in 3 years or 5 years. And then there's a 1 to 2, 3% that can be laid down for 7 to 10 years. You know, if it's any more than 10 years, we special order because we don't want to keep it in the store and hold it on our shelf. You know,
so
it needs to be stored correctly.
You hear about these wines that are like super old. I mean, is there at some point there's like it'll age?
Yeah, at some point the sugar falls off, or the you know, alcohol falls off. It's a balance, you know. But there's times when it's like, okay, it's time to drink, and they usually find a lot of that information on the internet. Cellar Tracker and some other apps. You can plug in everything that you're putting into your cellar, and they'll say, you know, they'll pop up a little deal that says time to drink. It's a 2013 Cab, 2014 Justin Cab. You know, 2 years from now, it'll pop up on your iPad, time to drink. You know, so that helps a lot. How they did it before computers, I don't know, but you know, time will tell. You know, and then a lot of guys that sell that kind of stuff will buy 3 to 4 bottles and drink a bottle every 2 years. You know, and they'll just say, or a bottle every year, and just say, man, it's getting better and better. I have a buddy that has a huge cellar, and he had what we call a vertical. So he had one wine and every vintage of that wine for like 7 years. And so, you know, he had held on to these, and we'd take it and we'd open a bottle, and then we'd try another bottle. And he said, let's just do a whole vertical. Let's just take them all out. We took like 4 vintages and laid them all out. and tried every bottle side by side, decanting each one, and it was amazing the difference. You wouldn't believe what had happened over just the course of 3 or 4 years.
So when you say like the alcohol falls off or the sugar falls off,
right?
So is there some of these wines that they'll literally open them and there's like not an alcohol to it? Like there's no, it's just for taste only?
No, the wine just basically goes bad.
It just goes bad.
Yeah, you'll have the notes of, well, basically it'll start to be vinegar, you know. Which in some, you know, a lot of people think you can't age Riesling and or age whites at all. Riesling is so highly acidic that, I mean, you can age Riesling, good Riesling, for a long, long time. I think a lot of people, you know, don't understand aging and what you can really do with wines, but you know, a lot of people aren't buying those wines anyway. The majority of our customers are going to take it home and drink it, you know. Maybe if you lay it down. Have a good night, Bob. It's Bob House. If you have like 5-7 years age on a wine, it can make a huge, huge difference. But you're also going to pay $80 a bottle, probably.
What do you get, you know, out of an aged wine that you don't get out of like something else? Like what's the main pickup? It
mellows out the tannin. It's kind of like decanting. We did the video about decanting.
Before you go into that, because you mentioned tannins.
Right.
What's the tannins thing?
Tannins, tannins.
For us folks that don't know.
Tannins are found in the skins of red wine, red grapes. So white wine does not have all those tannins in the skin, and usually the skins aren't even used. So with red wine, the tannins in the skin, when the skin is combined with the juice, then those tannins and even sometimes the stems from the vineyard or it's all combined and used within the red wine, making it, you know, astringent or kind of bitter when it first comes out of the bottle. We've tasted wines, big wines that we were like, wow, that's got some grip. I mean, that's big, rich. It's almost kind of hard to drink.
Big, boldy wine that you've ever had?
Actually, it was a cab. It was Rudd Vineyard, and which is a local guy, Leslie Rudd. He owns Standard Beverage, which is one of our vendors, but he also owns Rudd Vineyards out in California. And a really young Rudd Cabernet has got serious grip. I mean, it'll grab you, and it'll be like really complex and just rich, and you know. And I've had them young. I've had them at 2-3 years. I've had them at 7 or 8 years. And as they lay down and chill out, as they mellow, it's a whole different wine. Not even the same ballpark.